Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 8 in season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Quite frankly, the most frustrating race I have ever tried to record for the Norfolk Southern 400 at the Richmond International Raceway, an 80-lap race around this 3/4 of a mile racetrack in Richmond, Virginia. And like I said, it's been a very frustrating race to record because I've had to redo it so many times at 2 different places, it's not even funny. Originally, this race was supposed to be at the South Boston Speedway. Let's just say that racetrack cannot hold 40 cars too well. It was just crazy. I tried to record this a couple other times. Lap after lap, they would crash. It was just too crazy. I toned it down. Hopefully, this time, I have finally figured it out, and we can finally get race number 8 recorded and uploaded at the right time. But anyways, coming into today's event, Ricky Stevenson still holds the points lead in the number 38, 221 points towards the championship. Trey Bartow, who is the teammate to the guy starting on the pole position, 39 points behind Ricky Stevenson. The guy who starts on the pole for today's race, Caleb Hoffman, 52 points behind. And Jonathan King, 53 points behind. And Marty Johnson, 54 points behind. Isaac Nichols, Cody Sill, Cameron Garlington, Blaine Keys, Matt Dalio, and Ricky Stevenson all locked into the chase for season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Caleb Hoffman starts on the pole in his final ever season here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Will he get it done here tonight? This is a place where passing isn't too frequent. We're just going to have to find out. We can't find out without the engines firing, so let's head trackside for the command in the Norfolk Southern 400 at Richmond.
For all troops around the world, drivers, start your engines.
And a great command there to fire these guys up. We're ready to get this one started. We're going to wait a couple moments before they roll onto the racetrack. But we'll get through the top few positions here before that happens. Caleb Hoffman on the pole position in the number 14. Alongside him, it's the number 22 of Adam Lewis. Behind those guys, Jonathan King in the number 33. Alongside another single-car team of Eli Bright driving for Germain Racing. Circle Sport Racing, the team that Jonathan King drives for there in row number 2. Julius Anderson starts alongside the number 1 of Cody Sill. 2 more rookies of Donovan Duthipt and Chris Skindler. Then we got a veteran, and Eric Almenard, a part-time driver in the number 15, starting alongside the number 17 of Jordan Lopez. John Arndt and Jesse Turner start alongside each other in row number 6. Row 7 sees the number 38 of Ricky Stevenson and Richard Kinghart. Row number 8, it's Ace Garcia and teammate Isaac Nichols, who won the last race here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Row number 9 sees the 96 of Dale Salzman and Anthony Lopez, and it's Matt Zook and Tristan Allen rounding out the top 20 starting positions for the Norfolk Southern 400 at the Richmond International Raceway. It's taken me long enough to get this race recorded. Hopefully, this is the time we get it done. Green flag is out, and our first short track race of the season is green here at Richmond. And pulling away for the lead, Caleb Hoffman on the start. A great jump for the Stuart Haas car of Caleb Hoffman in the number 14. And Stuart Haas Racing has done a very good job this season, especially in the owner's points. Igor Barreto, the owner of the team, they got a lot of good drivers on their team, and that might be a good reason why they're doing so good in the owner's points. Caleb Hoffman, of course, he comes into this race 3rd in the point standings. His teammate Trey Bartow, 2nd in the points coming into today's event. And Hoffman, this is a place, like I said, that doesn't get much passing. Hoffman may come home with the victory here tonight in the Norfolk Southern 400. But it's really early on. We still have 76 laps to go in this race, at least. Actually, 78 laps to go, I think. Yeah, 78 laps to go. Now 77 laps to go. And it's just going to be a wild one, especially if we get a caution. We get some guys starting on the inside on a restart. And the multiple times I've attempted to record this race, we've had a lot of crashes, of course, and we had a lot of guys starting on the inside lane who are a lap down in slow cars because they have damage from their crashes. And that's why we kept on getting so many crashes. And hopefully this time we don't get a crash fest. And maybe we won't get a caution within the first 5 laps like we've had every single race this season. But anyways, Caleb Hoffman still out front in the number 14, but Eli Bright trying to close in the number 13. He started 4th for this race on the outside lane of Jonathan King. And number 14 is trying to pull away here now. Adam Lewis, he started on the outside pole. He's falling back in the number 22 right now. Ace Garcia to the inside of him in the number 23. And they might go 3 wide here, exiting the corner. Adam Lewis coming close to John Arndt there, but no problem. And they continue the race for that position. So we can either have a race like this where they don't really pass too much, but it's going to come down to pit strategy, and that's kind of how Rockingham was. Matt Dalio ended up winning that race, and never mind, we got a caution on the racetrack. The 2 restrictor plate winners so far this season of Cameron Garlington and Isaac Nichols involved in the crash on lap 6 of this race. So that just throws everything that I was about to say out the window. So, our first caution of the race, but it took a little while before they crashed, so hopefully this won't be near as bad as the first, or I don't know how many times I tried to record this, but every single time I tried to record this stupid thing, we've had a lot of crashes. Hopefully that'll be it. Maybe one more crash at the end of the race, but hopefully it'll be a pretty calm race. But as for these 2 guys, it might be the end of their nights. Isaac Nichols and Cameron Garlington involved in this one. Both of them are locked into the chase, but they're not going to get a win here tonight at Richmond. Hoffman's going to lead the field down the pit lane. And when it comes to the Richmond International Raceway, we get a lot of strategy play, and we might see some of these guys back in here take 2 tires instead of 4, like our leader might take. And we might get a totally different leader than what we ended up with coming down the pit lane. So Caleb Hoffman definitely has to be careful here. Of course, he did start on the pole, so he has the first pit stall here. But he might not necessarily win the race off of the pit lane. We're just going to follow with the number 14 here of Caleb Hoffman for this one until somebody passes him or he exits the pit lane. He's going to go 2 tires to ensure he can stay out front. Jonathan King will be 2nd. Eli Bright will be 3rd. 4th place will be Julius Anderson, or will it? Yes, it will. Julius Anderson 4th off the pit lane. Matt Tuck 5th off the pit lane in the number 42. Anyways, let's go ahead and review the crash that happened here, lap 6 of this race, involving Isaac Nichols and Cameron Garlington. Well, they were 3 wide here, but just barely. Jesse Turner trying to poke a hole in between Reagan Whitlock and Cameron Garlington, and Turner, I can tell you he's a little anxious to get a win here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Actually, Colin Driver that pushes up in the Turner. I don't think this was Turner's fault. Driver pushed up into those guys, and Garlington was the unfortunate victim. You see the 83 of Isaac Nichols come in here right into the 47. And the 2 restrictor plate winners so far this season. Garlington won at Daytona for the Daytona 500. And on Monday, Isaac Nichols won at Talladega. Both of those guys involved in this crash, the only 2 involved in this crash, on lap 6 of the race. And follow real time with Cameron Garlington. And you see Driver just get a run there, push up in the Turner. And there's just nowhere to go for the 83 once this all starts. Now, Tristan Allen might have gained a little bit of damage in the number 2. But other than that, it was a relatively minor incident, which is a great thing. Caleb Hoffman won the race off of the pit lane, but he only took 2 tires. Might have some guys back in here that took 4 tires. So it's going to be interesting on the restart because we're probably going to have a couple guys on the inside lane who are slow. Mainly Cameron Garlington and Isaac Nichols. But anyways, let's go ahead, get to the restart after this commercial break from the Richmond International Raceway.
Just get home from school, you got nothing to do? Well then, turn on your computer and listen to the NRLOA podcast, where we bring you up to date on all things all stock car racing and NASCAR, and on your local short track near you. We'll have things such as Modified and Mock Series Corner, followed by PCS Rated WRLA, and so much more.
I think Elliott Sadler can probably win the race.
It's the NRLOA podcast every Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/MaxTheHedgehog77.
Back here at the Richmond International Raceway, this restart will definitely be interesting with these 2 cars in the inside lane. Caleb Hoffman is the leader in the number 14. He has led every single lap so far in this race. Right behind him, it's Jonathan King in the number 33. Eli Bright, Julius Anderson, and Matt Tuck round out the top 5 with Donovan Dufit, Jordan Lopez, Ricky Stevenson, Adam Lewis, and Eric Almenhart, the top 10. Isaac Nichols and Cameron Garlington were involved in that crash. They ended up going a lap down while they were fixing their damage on the pit lane. And here they go, 3 wide, entering the corner. Hoffman's going to pull out to the lead in the number 14, but the 83 and the 47 are still 3 wide with Jonathan King. They're going to fan it back down, and they're going to figure it out for now. Caleb Hoffman pulling out in the number 14, and Hoffman will lead lap 13 of this race. Jonathan King will surpass the 83 and the 47. These guys slowing up the inside lane right now and giving a little bit of an advantage to the outside lane. Number 47 trying to get to the inside of Eli Bright, but Cameron Garlington can only go so fast in his damaged race car. But right now they are pretty clean. Caleb Hoffman will lead another lap in this race, and he's pulled away from Jonathan King. And now the lap cars are holding up both lanes here. And that could definitely get very interesting if they continue to do so. I tell you, Matt Tuck's getting a little impatient. Same with Eli Bright. Isaac Nichols continues to run up high down the straightaways. They're going to go 3 wide and split Cameron Garlington as another... Nope, thought the caution lights were on, but they were not. They're now splitting the 47 of Cameron Garlington here. And it's going to be Jordan Lopez that gets stuck behind the 47. Matt Tuck's going to pull away. He's past Isaac Nichols. Ricky Stevens in the inside lane will get around this 83 eventually. They might go 3 wide here with Nichols as Eric Almenhart and Eli Bright go to the inside of the 83. They're maneuvering around these guys very well, I will say that. And it could be a lot worse than what we are seeing right now. Anyways, Jonathan King closing in on the number 14 of Caleb Hoffman. But Hoffman staying out front right now in the number 14. Hoffman has led every single lap so far after starting on the pole position for this race. But Jonathan King is closing in very fast in the number 33. And this is a single car team right here. Christian Master, the owner of Circle Sport Racing, they're doing pretty good in the owner's points coming into this race. Of all the single car teams, they lead in the points, at least of the driver's standings. And if Jonathan King could get this win here today, they would lock themselves into the chase and probably improve in the owners' standings as well. And it looks like they could not figure it out with these lap cars. We had an incident down the front stretch here at Richmond. Isaac Nichols is on the apron there, and I saw the 47 of Cameron Garlington with major damage in the number 47. So our second caution of the race, and mainly because of these guys involved. Oh no, the leader! Caleb Hoffman just ran right into the back of the field, and his day is going to be done in the number 14. That is absolutely unbelievable for our pole sitter, Caleb Hoffman, who had a very huge chance of winning tonight's race. And he just did not slow up in time for these guys who were slowing down ahead of him. And Hoffman's going to be done for the night. He's actually still the leader, but he cannot continue with all the damage to his race car. Absolutely unbelievable. The leaders are coming down, or some of the leaders are coming down the pit lane. It's kind of hard to tell where everybody is, though, right now, because the caution came out midway through the field crossing the line, and when that happens, it gets very, very top-heavy. If you know what I mean by that, we get a lot of cars on the tail end of the lead lap in front of the leaders. I like to consider that top-heavy for some reason. Jonathan King, if this pit stop goes well, should be the leader. But he's not going to win the race off the pit lane. Matt Tuck will win the race off the pit lane in the number 42. Strategy play on this Chip Ganassi racing machine. Cody Sills already in the chase. Ganassi might go 2 for 2. We'll just have to see. Tuck, Stevenson, Almenhart, Lewis, and King, the top 5 off the pit lane, and they were the only guys to stay out. So Matt Tuck will be the leader when we restart here in the Norfolk Southern 500. We're going to review what happened to Caleb Hoffman and review the crash that brought out the second caution here at Richmond. Let's just say that this was a very complicated caution. This is not why the caution came out. John Art's going to go around here. They were 4 wide. Garlington got shoved out of line 4 wide, and that's what created this situation. Noah cars got into the 24. The caution has not come out yet, and this is not the reason for the caution. It's actually ahead of this. And the number 13 of Eli Bright, he gets put in a 3 wide situation here. And they see the number 23 of Ace Garcia. Marty Johnson to the inside of him. You can see the lights there. They are still green. And you see all these guys back in here. They clogged up back behind this. Some guys think we're trying to come down the pit lane or something. I don't know. But none of that had anything to do with why the caution came out. And you see here the 13 gets spun off of Ace Garcia and Marty Johnson into the outside wall. Hard goes the number 23. Julius Anderson avoids it. But Isaac Nichols does not. Right into the 83 goes, or right into the 13 goes Isaac Nichols. You see Kinghart. A lot of these guys do avoid that. See Colin Driver, he tried to avoid it, went down below. Jesse Turner a little bit fast in the 43. Gets into the 55, and Colin Driver goes around. And this is after the caution has occurred as well. You can see the 55 into the outside wall. Richard Kinghart's going to come in here, and Kinghart's going to gain some damage from hitting that 55. Very, interesting caution, to say at the least. But nonetheless, it happened, and it involved a couple of good drivers in this race. Going to replay this in real time, following the 13 of Eli Bright. And Bright goes around the 13. Nichols hits hard. Actually, Nichols did not hit hard. He actually just tapped him a little bit. Then Driver goes around off the front bumper of Jesse Turner, and Kinghart runs in. But other than that, that was okay. But you see all these guys, they slow down, they have crossed the line, or they did not cross the line before the caution came out. Hoffman racing back to the line in the number 14. Does not slow down in time. Right into Garrett Sinor, who was on the tail end of the lead lap. Just a very unfortunate crash for Caleb Hoffman, who had a very good chance of winning this race if that did not happen. They were racing back to the line. Everybody else was kind of slowing down there because they had not crossed the line, and Hoffman right into Sinor, ending his day. But Matt Tuck doesn't mind, because he just took the lead in the number 42 off of the pit lane. Anyways, we will not have a commercial break. We're just going to get right to the restart here in Norfolk Southern 400. I keep wanting to say 500 because that's what it was originally going to be when it was going to be at South Boston. But we'll get back to the Norfolk Southern 400 here at the Richmond International Raceway right now. Back here at the Richmond International Raceway, and we're going to have some more fun again. Guys starting on the inside lane here. This time, these guys are probably pretty fast. Tristan Allen here, Joe Larvin Alonso. I believe they just got caught a lap down. They were not involved in any crash or anything. Garrett Sinor has damage, I believe, and so does Isaac Nichols from prior incidents. Matt Tuck, the leader. Ricky Stevenson, the points leader, is second. Eric Almenhart, Adam Lewis, Jonathan King, the top five. We're back to racing here at Richmond in the Norfolk Southern 400. And Matt Tuck, he's stuck on this outside lane here. 3 wide back in here. Ryan Madden, Garrett Sinor. These guys, they race very aggressively at this racetrack. Let me tell you that much right now. And if they can't figure it out, we're going to have a crash fest race anyways. I toned it down to 103% strength for the good, attempt of making it a normal race without so many cautions. But the big issue is all these lap down cars that start on the inside lane. We might start a rule sometime that on the short tracks, on tracks tracks shorter than a mile, that drivers do not start on the inside lane on restarts if they are a lap down, because it just creates such a problem every single time. They have figured it out 2 wide, so that's good there. Matt Tuck's going to stay out front for now. Eric Almenhart was closing in, but Adam Lewis will take the second position away from the number 15. And Lewis is going to drive around the 15 through turn number 4, or will he? Almenhart trying to get the run in the outside lane, not able to do so. And Matt Tuck is still out front in the 42 with a lapped car in between him and Adam Lewis. Now, Adam Lewis is running second, but his teammate, Tristan Allen, is a lap down. Now, here, Joe Larvin Alonso, I believe, is on the tail end right now. He is, so if a caution were to come out right now, Alonso would get back on the lead lap. Now, his car is running just as fast as everybody else's, but he just got caught a lap down. When that caution came out and everything, it's just the way it happened. And that was an unfortunate one for both Alonso and Tristan Allen. Now, Allen wants to get around this 42 and hope for a caution so he can get his lap back. But right now, that's not really happening for the number 2, Tristan Allen. But just as I say that, he goes to the inside of Matt Tuck, trying to get his lap back in the number 2. This is good news for Adam Lewis. I mean, it's a win-win for Tristan Allen. He gets his lap back, and he might give his teammate the lead. Matt Tuck is getting a run on the outside, however, and Tuck will stay out front in the number 42. Ricky Stevenson, the points leader here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Not the best of Talladega races for him, but he's still the points leader by 39 points coming into this race. And he's right now running in the second position. Daniel Bouchard the NRLOA Big One champion from 2017. Of course, just a couple days ago, he won that huge race at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. And we got ourselves another caution on the racetrack. I believe a couple of the RCR guys went around. Alexander Rowe and Jay Jefferson. So another caution here at Richmond. And Alonso will gain his lap back in the number 10. Fortunately, this time they had not crossed the line before that caution came out. That went for every single driver, so they're all on the same lap now, and nobody's going to run into each other because of this. But yet another caution here at Richmond. Not as bad as it was the first time I tried to record this, but still, it's having the looks of a crash fest race. It does appear that Alexander Rowe and Jay Jefferson got involved in this one. Matt Tuck will lead the field down the pit lane. We'll see where he falls in with the rest of the field. Lap 33 of 80 here in the Norfolk Southern 400. Matt Tuck coming down the pit lane, the leader. He's going to take 4 tires, which means he might not necessarily win the race off the pit lane. We see some guys take 2 tires sometimes here at the Richmond International Raceway. And we might see it out of somebody else, and Adam Lewis in the number 22 will win the race off. Stuart Grattan up the second. Ace Garcia will be in the 3rd position. And Matt Tuck falling back to the 4th position on the pit lane. I believe Alonso stayed out there so he can kind of mix right in with these guys. And so did Colin Driver. I do not believe Driver came in. And actually, as a matter of fact, quite a few guys did not come in. And the leader will now be Daniel Bouchard in the number 11. I did not see all these guys here that stayed out, but quite a few drivers stayed out. And now Daniel Bouchard holds the lead here in the Norfolk Southern 400. Anyways, let's go ahead and review the crash that brought out the 3rd caution here at the Richmond International Raceway. If there was ever a hat trick in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series for like one race, it would be causing crashes, and Jesse Turner has just gained himself that hat trick here tonight. He spun the 31 of Jay Jefferson. He also spun the 55 of Colin Driver, and also spun, or had contact with Cameron Garlington in the first incident. Now, that was Driver's fault, but Jesse Turner has been the cause of all 3 cautions here tonight. All 3 of them, and he's still running just fine. Dallio with a little bit of damage in the 88 as the 31 and the 27 go around. And I believe Eli Bright and Colin Driver do run into this as well. See the 13 run into the 27 there. That might end Eli Bright's day. And Driver in the 55 gets squeezed there a little bit. He's going to gain a little bit of damage from this one. Going to replay this one in real time. And Turner just a little aggressive on the 31. Jonathan King also majorly torn up in the 33. That's a tough break for him. He was in a chance to win this race after Hoffman had his issue, and now Jonathan King has a bunch of damage in the 33. We're going to knock out quite a few guys tonight. But fortunately, only our 3rd caution. We're not quite halfway through just yet. But it's looking a little bit better than the first couple of times I tried to record this. Let me tell you that. Anyways, after this commercial break, we'll get back to the restart here in the Norfolk Southern 400 at the Richmond International Raceway.
They're not complicated recipes. They're homemade ones. So they call for just a handful of simple ingredients, like real tea. Because at Turkey Hill, we found that simple is usually best. Pure and chilled lemonade and iced tea from Turkey Hill. Always chilled for freshness.
Back here at the Richmond International Raceway for the Norfolk Southern 400, and pit strategy has been a major key in tonight's race. A lot of guys stayed out under that last caution, and now Daniel Bouchard is the leader in the number 11. Marty Johnson is second, Reagan Whitlock, Daniel McMillan, Dane Ammon. Number 3 of Noah Cars, Jesse Turner, who has caused all 3 cautions tonight. Anthony Lopez, Cody Sill, Dale Salzman, the top 10. Bouchard trying to get around all this lap traffic to the inside of him, but it might cost him the lead. To the inside for 3rd, McMillan on Whitlock. Another spin. I believe we have another crash, and we do. Somebody went around. Trey Bartow majorly torn up. Donovan Dufit, Jay Jefferson again, Matt Delio, Elijah Gordon, teammates at Hendrick and Chris Skinlart. Well, this has been a very great race now, hasn't it? I tell you, these guys, they cannot figure it out here at Richmond. I mean, we were originally going to go to South Boston, and we had to change it, and we go to Richmond, and we get the same results we would have gotten at South Boston, so it really wasn't a need to change. But you know what? We're going to keep on going anyway. I've just spent too much time trying to record this thing. We're going to do this, don't worry. Daniel Bouchard will now come down the pit lane, and if I'm Matt Tuck, I'm staying out. And if I'm all those guys who came down the first time, like Stuart Gratton, Adam Lewis, Matt Tuck, they are going to stay out. So Stuart Gratton will inherit the lead right now in the number 37. Adam Lewis, Ace Garcia, Matt Tuck all staying out. Al Agassi, Ricky Stevenson, Eric Almenhart, Jordan Lopez. And that's it of the guys staying out on the racetrack under this caution. We've seen races at Bristol like this. Bristol's like this a lot. And that's what we're seeing here at Richmond right now. Constant cautions. And because of these constant cautions, these guys mixing it up on the racetrack with pit strategy. Daniel Bouchard will win the race off the pit lane. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the fourth caution here in the Norfolk Southern 400. Finally, for the first time tonight, Jesse Turner was not the cause of the crash. But if you invert his numbers, that's who caused it. Al Agassi spinning the 21, exiting turn number 2. And Skinlart into the outside wall. Eric Almenhart avoids this in the number 15, but Elijah Gordon trying to avoid it. He's sliding there, does not. Trey Bartow as well. Matt Dalio also with major damage in the 88. And Donovan Dufit as well. The number 24, John Arndt, Hendrick. 3 of their cars involved in this crash. And 2 of the RCR guys involved as well. Alexander Rowe and Jay Jefferson. And that's what happens when you get overly aggressive drivers on a short track in NR 2003. But anyways, replay it in real time. We'll get to the restart here in the Norfolk Southern 400 at Richmond. And Chris Skinlart involved in this one. Off the front bumper of Al Agassi into the outside wall. Elijah Gordon torn up. Trey Bartow, Matt Delio, and just a bunch of guys torn up. They kept on going back and forth as they were getting hit. Elijah Gordon and Chris Skinlart there. Just a very unfortunate crash. I say that every time we crash, but it's just unfortunate we've had four crashes in this race, and we're not even halfway through. But anyways, that does work out for Stuart Gratton and those guys who came down the pit lane the caution before, because they are now going to be out front in this race. Anyways, let's get to the restart here in the Norfolk Southern 400. Stuart Gratton leads the field in the 37. Back here at Richmond, and we are officially halfway through the Norfolk Southern 400 here at the Richmond International Raceway. And it is the number 37 of Stuart Gratton leading the field in the number 37. Adam Lewis, Ace Garcia, Matt Tuck, Al Agassi, who started that crash, runs 5th. Ricky Stevenson and Eric Almenhart, along with Jordan Lopez and Julius Anderson, the top 9. Daniel Bouchard rounds out the top 10 in the number 11. Bouchard was the first guy off the pit lane under this caution. 9 guys stayed out, and they are led by the 37. Green flag back in the air here at Richmond. And we still got these guys on this inside lane here. Those lap down cars definitely get in the way. Gonna make sure everybody gets through this corner okay. And it does appear that they will. The good thing about these crashes, the more guys we knock out, the less likely we'll get another crash, because the fewer guys we have on the racetrack, the less likely we'll get a crash. It's as simple as that. Stuart Gratton pulls out to the lead in the number 37. Right behind him, it's Alan Lewis. I would love to see a long green flag run this race, because it could get very interesting. Now, I'm pretty sure these guys can make it to the end of the race. Never mind. Dane Ammon in the inside wall, and the 51's around. And, you know, we could go without a caution for that one, but we're going to have one anyway. And Dane Ammon, a part-time driver, spun into the inside wall hard. Eventually, these guys are just going to stop coming down the pit lane. And you know what? It might be the good time for that. Stuart Gratton's out front. We're just going to have to see if they come down. And it does appear that Gratton will come down here with Adam Lewis, Matt Tuck. So that's probably going to give the lead back to Bouchard. Only unless he comes down the pit lane, which it does appear that he will. But Dane Ammon going around down the backstretch. And this race has been something else, hasn't it? The 5th caution of the race here in the Norfolk Southern 400. Been a while since we've had a Crash Fest race like this in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Because, lots of times I try to figure it out and all that to avoid something like that from happening. But I've tried too much with this race just to not try to do it again, honestly. I mean, we could have a really boring race here at Richmond, or we can have a Crash Fest. And you know what? It's okay to have a Crash Fest every once in a while. Spice some things up. And it looks like Stuart Grattan might win the race off here. Possibly. You know what? He's not. It's going to be Noah Cars in number 3. And I believe all these guys, they might just get their lap back here, which means they won't be on the inside lane. A couple of them are a couple laps down. That's unfortunate. 27. Yeah, they're all... I think Dufit and Sinor might get their laps back, but for the other two guys, it's not going to be the case. Noah Cars won the race off the pit lane in number 3. The other two RCR guys crashed, but Noah Cars is now out front here at Richmond. Anyways, 5th caution of the day, 5th time we're reviewing something here in the Norfolk Southern 400. Almost said 500 again. Norfolk Southern 400 here at Richmond. Isn't it something that the guy who won the race off of the pit lane was the cause of this accident? And I just noticed something. There's a reason why you have not been here to Richmond since season number 3, and it's because of races like this. That's a hard impact for Dane Ammon into the inside wall. We honestly could have avoided a caution for this one. Nobody was coming towards him, and he spun that thing back around, but caution lights were triggered because he was sideways on the racing surface. If he stayed below the yellow line, the caution would not have come out, but unfortunately it did, and that shook things up again, and the number 3 is going to be out front. Look at this. These guys sliding up the racetrack, I believe they figure it out, but that could have been something big if they didn't. Number 3 out front, that's all we're going to do to review that crash. It was as simple as it could possibly be, so let's get to the next restart here in the Norfolk Southern 400 at Richmond. Back here at Richmond for our annual Demolition Derby. We usually get a race like this every season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and tonight's the night for that race. It's a crazy one here at Richmond for the Norfolk Southern 400. Noah Cars is the leader. Marty Johnson, Daniel McMillan, Adam Lewis, Stuart Grattan, the top 5. Fitzwater, Keys, Lagacy, Bouchard, and Tuck. Might be the top 11. Nope, top 10. So, 31 laps to go, coming to the restart. And we still got a lot of guys on this inside lane. And that has generally been the cause of all these cautions here tonight. These guys, I mean, look at that. They're going 3 wide. 2 of those guys are a lap down, and they're going 3 wide. They do not need to be going 3 wide. Dane Ammon, Alexander Rowe, Daniel McMillan. McMillan will drive around those guys, and they're going to remain 2 wide now. A lot of these guys are stuck behind these lap cars, like Adam Lewis, Stuart Grattan. They're on the lead lap. Zachary Fitzwater, Al Lagacy, Blaine Keys. They all have a chance at closing up to the leader, but they're stuck behind those lap down cars, and they're not getting anywhere. Noah Cars leads the field in the number 3. He has never won a race before on Napa Fan. And if he were to win here tonight, it'd be his first career win in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, his first career win on the channel. And he would also make the chase as well. So it would be a pretty good win for Matt Tuck if he could pull it off here tonight at Richmond. Marty Johnson, he won the Meliella Smooth Fest. Michael Kelly, the owner of Go Fast Racing, they've been doing a very good job. Marty Johnson only 54 points behind coming into today's race. They have had a very strong season here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series so far, and they are showing that tonight here at Richmond. Adam Lewis, rookie driver, number 22, one of his best runs for Team Penske, and another caution on the racetrack. McMillan has come down the pit lane, and it is for Richard Kinghart and John Arndt, along with Alonzo. And that might be it. Matt Dalio in the pit lane as well. He's torn up, and yet again another crash. The 6th one of the night here at Richmond. I keep on trying to tell myself that it's okay to have a Crash Fest race every once in a while. As long as every race is not like that, it's fine. And it creates very interesting strategy. This race is going to be won on whoever comes off the pit lane in the last caution. We never know when the last caution is going to be, so get very interesting here. These guys might have finally figured it out. These cautions, they just keep on happening, and eventually if they keep on happening like this, these guys, they just stop coming down the pit lane, and that's what they're doing right now. So this is looking good for Noah Cars in the number 3, but this thing is far from over. Marty Johnson can get to the inside of him here on the restart. We're just going to have to see anyways. You know what we're going to do. we're going to review for the 6th time today here at Richmond. We're just going to simply replay this in real time. Ryan Madden in the number 77. Alexander Rowe comes down on the 10, and Madden goes around, and Dahlia runs right into him. They're racing back to the line, and that's why they arc break into each other. Colin Driver as well involved in this crash, and more drivers involved. John Arndt, Richard Kinghart, and Harry Larkin Alonso. We didn't actually catch those guys. But you get the picture of what happened, and that's just been the nutshell of tonight here at Richmond. And that is why we have not come here since season number 3. Noah Cars is the leader after this commercial break. We'll be right back to the Norfolk Southern 400 at the Richmond International Demolition Derby Speedway.
While cars, tracks, and drivers may change, the smooth citrus taste that drives us remains the same. Only Mellow Yellow.
Back here once again. We're about ready to get our 6th restart of the race started here at the Richmond International Raceway. Noah Cars is the leader in the number 3, followed by Marty Johnson, Adam Lewis, Al Agassi, Ricky Stevenson, Matt Tuck, Jordan Lopez, Stuart Gratton, Daniel Bouchard, and Zachary Fitzwater. It's been one of those nights here at Richmond, and as you can see, we only have 21 drivers on the lead lap, and all those guys on the tail end, or actually no, all those guys a lap down, starting on the inside lane there. So yeah, it's been one of those nights. McMillan also has damage in the 95. He might have been caught up in that crash, and we did not see it. He was actually 3rd before that caution came out. Anyways, they're trying to get around these lap-down cars. Noah Cars in the 3 to the outside of Garrett Sinor. Marty Johnson's right behind him in the 32. Will Marty Johnson get a chance on this 3? It's a big question there. A lot of guys knocked out tonight. Everybody from, I'd like to say, probably everybody from John Arndt down are out. So 28 drivers on the racetrack. And here comes Marty Johnson in the 32. Will he get to the inside of Noah Cars for the lead? Not quite yet. Noah Cars will stay out front in the number 3. 20 laps to go in the Norfolk Southern 400 here at Richmond. And they're 3 wide. They almost went 3 wide. They're going to go 3 wide. That could have been a lot worse than what it could have been. They could have spun that 95 around, but they did not. Clean racing by those guys. Noah Cars pulling away in the 3. He has gotten around the lap traffic of Garrett Sinor. Al Agassi in the 34 to the inside of Marty Johnson for 2nd. And now Legacy, it looks like he is going to get around Garrett Sinor. Adam Lewis, Matt Tuck on this inside lane with a chance at closing in on our leader, Noah Cars. Number 3 out front, Al Legacy running in the 2nd position. Adam Lewis, the only driver right now in the top 5 that won. Actually, sorry, Marty Johnson's in the top 5 for the moment, but now I can say it because Jordan Lopez is going to take the 5th position away from him. So now the only driver in the top 5 that has won a race in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series is Matt Tuck in the number 42. He won 1 race last year. Adam Lewis to the inside of Al Legacy. Legacy moved up the racetrack there a little bit, and now Lewis looking to get the 2nd position away from the 34. But Noah Cars staying out front. He wants those guys to go double wide for 2nd. But Legacy got a good run off the corner. He's got a good run here on the number 3. Will he get to the inside of him? Yes, he will. Al Legacy to the inside of Noah Cars for the lead. If Legacy can pull this off, this would be our first pass on the racetrack for the lead. And Legacy has just taken it away from Noah Cars. Here comes Matt Tuck in the 42. Matt Tuck trying to get a run on Noah Cars. Adam Lewis following suit behind the 34. And now Adam Lewis will go to the inside for the lead. And I thought I saw somebody go around Stevenson in the 38 with damage. I think his engine just blew up because the caution is not out. So Ricky Stevenson with an issue, our points leader here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. I believe his engine blew, and the 38's going to come to the pit lane. That is unfortunate for our points leader. Anyways, his teammate is leading. Al Legacy in the 34, holding off Adam Lewis, Noah Cars, and Matt Tuck. Jordan Lopez to the outside of Daniel Bouchard. Bouchard trying to take the fifth position away from the 17. Matt Tuck's going to get to the inside of Noah Cars for third. And Matt Tuck's going to take it. Or is he? Might not have the run on the inside to get around this 3 quite yet. But Matt Tuck will try. Anyways, it's Al Legacy out front right now in the number 34. Trying to grab his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series victory as a rookie driver. His teammate Ricky Stevenson is the points leader, and Brad Stover, the owner of Front Row Motorsports, would love to have both of his drivers in the chase for season number 6. These guys starting to string out single file now, which is a great thing if we do not want to see another caution in this race. Stuart Gratton with a great run tonight, running 7th right now in the number 37. Julius Anderson, Dale Salzman, and Marty Johnson has fallen back to 10th. Johnson, he might have gotten stuck on the outside lane there. That might be why he has fallen back. Bouchard on Matt Tuck for the 4th position on the racetrack. And Bouchard will take it away from the number 42. Legacy pulling away from Adam Lewis. And I believe this one might just go to the number 34 the way things are looking right now. Matt Tuck trying to get back to the inside of Daniel Bouchard for the lead. Not able to do so. The number 17 trying to get around to the outside of Matt Tuck. It's tough to do that here at Richmond. Very tough to get a pass on the outside here at this racetrack. It's a short track, and the outside lane just does not work too well. Somebody down the pit lane. Wondering if that's a lead lap car. No, that's Donovan Dufitt, who I believe is constantly coming down the pit lane because of his damage. I do not believe fuel is going to be an issue for these guys. I believe the last time they came in was about 35 laps to go or so. Could have actually been like 20-some laps to go, 28 or so laps to go in this race when they last came in. So they can definitely make it to the end without having to make another stop. But who knows? Because I never know what I'm talking about when it comes to fuel strategy and how fuel is a factor in these races, because I think they're never going to come in, but they do. But anyways, it's calming down here at Richmond. We had 6 cautions in this race, and it does appear that this one might go caution-free to the end. Julius Anderson in the 20 to the inside of the number 37 of Stuart Gratton. That is for position right there. Both Bouchard and Lopez got around Matt Tuck as well, and that's another position for both of those drivers. They're all kind of stuck behind Noah Cars right now. I do not believe Cars has as fast of a car as Lewis or Legacy does, and I think that's why they're bunching up behind this number 3. I think some of these guys like Bouchard and Lopez, they have just as fast race cars as Legacy and Lewis do, but they're just stuck behind the 3 and they cannot go anywhere. Of course, Bouchard, he's going to try to get to the inside of Noah Cars for the 3rd position. And Bouchard, the NRLOA Big One champion, looking to ride off that momentum and possibly take 3rd away from the number 3. But anyways, Al Legacy is closing in on Chris Skinlard, a slow car on the racetrack. I wonder if this is going to be a factor. He might get stuck right behind him. We know how hard it is to pass at this racetrack. And if that number 21 gets in the way enough, Adam Lewis might close in for the lead. But Legacy trying to get to the inside, not able to do so quite yet. And Skinlard still ahead of the 34. Lewis might be closing in here. The 34 is stuck behind the 21. He's going to try to get to the inside of him. And he's going to do so, but Adam Lewis in the 22 is closing in fast. This race might not be over. If Lewis can get around this 21 right here, right now, he might have a chance on Legacy. It is going to be 2 laps to go next time by for the number 34 of Al Legacy here at the Norfolk Southern 400 at Richmond. The number 34 will lead it with 2 laps to go. Now Reagan Whitlock in the way, and Legacy will drive right by. Adam Lewis did not close in enough. And this number 34 is pulling away. Next time by, the white flag here at Richmond. And I believe this thing is going to be over with the number 34 in victory lane. 1 lap to go for Al Legacy in the number 34 here at Richmond. We had a rookie driver win at Talladega. We're going to have another rookie driver win here tonight at Richmond. And the number 34 of Al Legacy. Gonna get around Alexander Rowe, the lapped car there in the number 27, and coming in at turn number 4, Al Legacy wins his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series race at the Richmond International Raceway. Al Legacy wins the Norfolk Southern 400 here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And you know what? With that win, Al Legacy is going to be in the chase for season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series with this win here today. Number 34 team won the Daytona 500 last year with Josh Alexander driving the car. And now with Al Legacy, they got both of their drivers in Front Row Motorsports. And Brad Stover, the owner of this team, I believe Legacy might have started in the last position. You know that? He might have started last for this race. And he got the win here at the Richmond International Raceway. How about that for Al Legacy in the number 34? Well, how about that, the way that whole thing ended as well? I mean, we had like 6 cautions, and then the final 20 laps of the race, caution-free. That was nice. I'm liking that we ended with a pretty long green flag run there, so it wasn't too bad, but still, as you can see with the rest of the finishing results, it was some night here at Richmond. Anyways, Al Legacy gets the victory here in the Norfolk Southern 400, and he is going to be in the chase for season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. With this victory, Adam Lewis, Daniel Bouchard, Matt Tuck, and Julius Anderson in the top 5. Jordan Lopez, Stuart Gratton, Noah Cars, Dale Salzman, Blaine Keys, the top 10. And it's one crazy race here at Richmond. But it was nice to come back here, I think. It was nice to have a race here at Richmond, and I think it worked out pretty well, especially near the end of this race, when we went caution-free for 20 straight laps. That was nice. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I apologize for this race being a crash fest, but that's just the way it is sometimes. Haven't had one in quite a while, so it's good to go back to old times where we just have a crash fest race every single time. But you know what? Al Legacy sure is happy. He's in the chase for season number 6 with this victory here at Richmond. And that Front Row Racing team, I can tell you right now, they are a very strong team. The points leader, Ricky Stevenson, he's still going to be the points leader, and Al Legacy both in the chase halfway through the regular season. And they have done their duty here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Now, second half of the regular season, these guys got to fight hard for these positions. It's the race of the chase here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series beginning on Saturday with the Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Last year, Stuart Gratton broke a well over 100 race winless streak in that race. I'm looking at you, Jesse Turner. Looking at you. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Congratulations to Al Legacy, and here are the point standings for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. I will see you guys later.
It's a bittersweet taste to swallow my pride.